Hi everyone, welcome back to Wonders of His Word. Today I want to share with you what God taught me from the story of Joseph. Now Joseph was a man who had so many struggles and difficulties since a young age. Now when he was just 17 years old, his brothers, they sought to kill him and they sold him as a slave. And after that, for so many years in his life, whether he was in the palace or whether he was in the prison, wherever he was, he had no one to call his family. He had no one to love him. He had no one who was on his side, and he had no home to go back to. All those years living as a slave in a foreign land, and he would have gone through so much of loneliness. All he had was God. He had no one else. And he knew that his brothers hated him. And he didn't even know how his father would be. He would have missed his father so much. The only person who loved him was his father. And when he was going through all of this pain, I'm pretty sure Joseph didn't know that God had a big plan for him, that God would lift him up and give him so much of wealth and power and make him second only to Pharaoh. Joseph did not know that the pain of his present would make a way for future deliverance, where he would be the reason that so many lives on earth would be saved. Joseph didn't know all of these things when he was going through that pain. He didn't know that the pain of his present was very important and God would use it to lift him up. But years later, when he was such a powerful man, we see that his brothers come back to him for food. And when they come back to him, we read in Genesis chapter 45, verse 5 to 8, that when Joseph tells them who he really is, he also tells them, "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves that you sold me here, because God sent me ahead of you so that I can save your lives, so that you won't be destroyed and will have descendants on this earth after you." And I was thinking, he must have had such a big heart to be able to say that. If someone hurts me and if someone caused me so much of pain and loneliness, years later, if I were to help them, if I had to do something for them, I will think, they tried to hurt me. They tried to kill me. They caused me so much of pain. Do I really have to help them? But here we see that Joseph says, "Don't be angry with yourselves that you tried to kill me, but rather God sent me ahead of you. You didn't sell me here, but God sent me ahead of you to save your lives so that I will be able to provide for you." He tells them that the reason he went through all of that pain was that so he would be able to save their lives. And such a big heart he had. Not only that, even in Genesis 50, verse 15 to 21, when Jacob dies, Joseph's brothers are thinking, maybe for the sake of our father, he didn't harm us all this time. But now that our father is dead, he can hold a grudge on us. He can take revenge. And they're afraid. But he tells them, "Why are you afraid? Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done." How many lives are being saved. The deliverance that is going on now, God intended all of my pain for good so that this deliverance will be accomplished. This was his heart. How was he able to forgive his brothers? How was he able to provide for their entire family, to save their lives when they were the ones who were trying to take away his life? How was he able to get over all of that pain? God taught me that sometimes we all tend to live in the pain of our past. Even though we have come out of that place, even though God has kept us well now, sometimes we are still bitter about those people who hurt us, those experiences we had. We still relive that pain over and over again. But only because Joseph was able to let go of the pain of his past, he could experience the deliverance that was happening. If he had refused to help his family, if he tried to take revenge and kill all of them or send them back to their land and let them starve, then at the end of his days, he would not have experienced the beautiful family life that he did. He reunited with his father, with his little brother whom he loved so much. And his father was able to bless him and his sons before he died. He could only experience all of this, the brotherhood, the unity. He and his brothers and their children lived together in the land of Egypt. He was able to provide for them, and he was able to live along with them. All those years of loneliness and pain that he had gone through, he was rewarded at the end with years of joy and fullness and peace with his entire family. Only because he did not live in the pain of his past could he experience all of this, because he decided to forgive. He was able to do this because he knew that everything he had gone through was the will of God. That is why he was able to say boldly, God intended it for good so that this would be accomplished. He was thinking of the present, of all the good things that was happening. He said, look at how many lives are being saved. And it doesn't matter if I had to go through all that pain, because today God has placed me here. That is why he told his brothers, don't be angry with yourselves. God sent me ahead of you. God did all of this. It's not your fault. Don't be afraid. Why are you afraid of me? I won't hurt you. I'm just happy you're here. He could say these things because he didn't live in the pain of his past. So this is what God is trying to tell us today. Oftentimes the pain of our present will be the thing that will make a way for the future deliverance. And oftentimes if we live in the pain of the past, we won't be able to experience the fullness of today, the goodness of God that we can see before our eyes today. So let's not live in bitterness and lose out on all that God has for us. And even if we are going through times of difficulty and loneliness, we need to believe and hope that God has a big plan for us, and He will elevate us and give us more than we could ever imagine. He will place us on thrones, on the seat of kings, and He will bless us abundantly. We just need to be faithful to Him. We just need to keep our hearts pure and be kind. We need to forgive like Joseph. And when we ask God, He will help us do all of these things. He will help us to move from the pain of our past and from the bitterness of our past. And He will help us to experience the fullness of joy that is found in Him today. I hope this word has blessed you. God bless you.